Episode 46 of the Perfect Turd podcast, Lamar. Blood Rage. Our crazy brother is coming home for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I like the concept of the psycho brother. Well, as we're going to find out, not too psycho. But it's once again feeling that good old feeling of Thanksgiving, inviting people you don't really like that are your family to eat a bunch of food.
Yeah. This movie is kind of funny in a lot of ways, but the way it starts off, it's like at a drive-in movie theater and everyone is just having sex.
We're going to be talking about sex a lot in this movie because, as you know, I'm an overthinker, and there's an underlying theme of sex in this movie, a lot of it.
This woman is about to have sex in the front seat of her car. Her children, who are in the back seat of the car, escape to go, do some shenanigans. But one of them is a little maniac, kills some other people that are having sex in their car, frames his brother. He goes away for 10 years into a mental institution, but now he breaks out. He's coming back for Thanksgiving. So the crazy killer brother who framed that guy, he goes on another killing spree, and this movie is nuts.
It's one of those things where it's like, I didn't expect that. And like you said, the beginning of this movie is nuts. Because the way they cut it is like she's just sitting up front, and you don't even know she has kids. And then the kids just pop, hey, what's going on here? And then the murder happens. But yeah, he has to cover his tracks because Todd is the presumed crazy brother.
Right.
Terry is the good brother. But he already had like some crazy tendencies before, like he's chilling with his friends and crap like that. So.
And the mother, she's a little off too, right?
Oh boy,
she's nuts too, and it's basically it's a slasher movie, but you have that added element where it's kind of a thriller, but at the same time, it's an unintentional comedy movie.
Unintentional comedy. Let's go into it. The visual. Well, I guess there's visual effects. Low budget, but people are getting decapitated, cut in half. They did the best with what they could.
Yeah, it was all right for what it was.
Funny as hell.
It was funny. One of my funny parts when it comes to that, he kills this lady's boyfriend that she's trying to nab, and then she's like, she thinks he's outside. She's like, she looks through the peephole and she's like, what are you doing out there? She opens the door and then sees like his head is cut off. It's like, you didn't see that through the peephole?
Well, you have a limited vision. It's not like you can see all of outside, Joe. Because that's how a peephole is designed. You're supposed to see the whole thing. But she can only see the head.
Yeah.
That had blood on it.
Yeah.
That was hanging from a string. The other part I liked is when the other lady, she gets cut in half, but you don't see her get cut in half. You just see like the later part where her torso is separated from her body.
Where they dug a hole.
Peeking out.
They had dug a trench.
Oh, I was dying.
That was great.
That was hilarious.
One of the themes of this movie is like everybody in this movie is horny. Everybody.
Okay, because we covered the mother. She didn't give it up because, she's my boys are in the back, but she almost did.
Yeah, what did that guy say? He was like, well, I don't mess around with women that bring their kids around with them or something.
But they're there, so what? We'll pass that part. The other part is the young lady who has a babysitter. Oh, go ahead.
You skip, because it fast forwards 10 years later. So she's got a new boyfriend.
Oh, yes.
Who's like the building manager. And she's so distraught because she's like, oh, my crazy son, I think he's on the loose. He might be coming here. And that guy can care less. He's like,
he doesn't try to console her, nothing. No. It's like, oh, baby, come on. It's he's like,
yeah, that sounds terrible, baby. So anyways,
The next one of the teens is a babysitter, and she she's just she hooked a rich man, and the baby is in the other room, she gets dressed and she talks to the little baby like, well, I got you a rich stepdad now, little baby, we're gonna be. I'm like, whoa, that baby can't even understand, but she was like, man, I can seal this deal tonight.
Yep. And the babysitter was actually trying to get laid instead of like
Yes.
watching the babysitter. And by the way, apparently in the 1980s, you can get a babysitter for like $10. So
And she was complaining about it. I was
yeah.
like, I don't know about the money differentiating thing or whatever, but I was like, $10 to watch a child for
Yeah.
a night? That's a steal. Actually, one of the other girls thought that she was running into Terry, runs into Todd, and she's just like, I just want to confess. I want to make love to you. I was like, whoa, like
Yeah.
everybody wants to have sex in
Yep.
that movie, Joe. Everybody.
On the tennis courts, by the pool, on the diving board. I mean, it's just.
Hold on, Joe, because one of the girls wanted to have sex on the boy wanted to have sex on the tennis court. And she's like, no, we can't do it out here. Let's go and have sex on a diving board in a pool.
Well, if you think about it, Lamar, there's there's more motion on the diving board. It does make sense.
There you
Tennis
go.
court's kind of hard.
Yeah.
It's a little rough.
Who cares if they're both exposed? What does it matter? You know, it's just what it is. Yeah.
Basically, the characters in this movie they're the most horny and the most dim-witted characters that you've probably ever seen in a movie. They literally, like, this guy's, running around killing people, whatever. He's covered in blood, holding machete, and the girl's just like, "Hey, what you got there?" Or like, "What's going on?" It's like no one realizes what's going on. No one can figure it out. Everyone is just dumb.
Well, and we have to go back to the mother. She just wasn't dumb. She was just drunk, because then she just starts getting plowed later on. And I was just like, well, she really isn't preparing for her son coming home at all. Like,
and they did hint maybe there was some mental illness, because like when she gets nervous, she just wants to clean.
Yeah.
And then she was just sitting at the refrigerator eating, binge eating. And then she went from the eating to the drinking. And then from the drinking to just calling random people on the telephone, trying to get a hold of somebody. So, and then, we won't spoil the end, but the end is kind of crazy, and it kind of goes into the mental illness between the son and the mother type of deal. Like, the actual overall premise is pretty interesting.
It is. If you made it more serious, you could probably have like a really good movie.
Yeah.
If you like went into character depth, maybe saw like him in the psychiatric ward and stuff.
Right.
You could make like a really, well thought out, clever movie. But they were just like slasher film.
You could probably remake this and make it like it really good,
Are we going to have a discussion about who we would remake with this?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Who would be Terry/Todd? Who would play that role?
Maybe
it's hard.
The guy that plays Kylo Ren.
Oh, that would be good. He is a really good actor.
Yeah, I think he could pull that off.
He would pull that off, and we have the technology where you can put, two people in the same freaking scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who would play the crazy mom?
Are we making this funny, or are we making?
I think we could make this funny.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, because if we're making a comedy, I pick Jane Lynch.
Oh, yes, yes. I would put her in a serious movie too, because she's a good actress, but she does have great comedic timing on things. Like, for real. Adam Driver is going to be Terry/Todd. Jane Lynch is going to be the mom. That would be a freaking hilarious. They gotta let us do it funny. It has to be like a parody of like those 1980s movies.
Yeah.
So this movie is about mental illness, horniness, and Thanksgiving, Joe. So you have a trifecta. Yeah. So yeah.
Crazy. Well, what would you rate it then?
I would rate this a 4, Joe. Like it's one of those movies where it's not like the great like cinematic style of it. It's just entertaining to watch it. I would suggest this if you're like into those cheesy 80s horror movies. Definitely check this one out, because it has some good gore effects. Well, what they had, but it's also unintentionally funny. So yeah,
right.
4.
Yeah, I'm pretty much right there. I think I'm gonna give it a 5.
Really? Okay.
And the reason why, like, I'm super entertained right now. Like you said, it's cheesy, all that. I was laughing from how cheesy it was. I was like, this is the perfect cheesy 80s horror movie.
Yes, it is.
Where none of it really makes sense. It's goofy. There's tits and ass in it and shit everywhere. This is the best that you can get in that little subgenre. And the time just went by super fast for me. I was having a great time. So I was thoroughly entertained. So I'm going to go ahead and give it the 5.
Definitely, if you're into those type of movies, this movie went all out, Joe. Just the story, the gore, good old Thanksgiving horror. So.
Well, speaking about Thanksgiving horror movies, next week we've got a doozy. We're going to be doing Thanksgiving.
We won't spoil anything, just turkeys are dangerous. We'll just say that. So, yes, Thanksgiving is next week. I'm stoked for that.
Right on.
Yes.
So like and subscribe to the channel. Well, episode 46 of the Perfect Turd podcast, Blood Rage. Peace.
Deuces.